Hey guys, it's Adventure. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at Carenado's PC-12. This is the aircraft quite a few of us have been looking forward to for quite a while, and comes with 9 liveries, as you can see here. Oh, and I just thought I saw a glimpse of something interesting. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but this aircraft is, of course, a single-engine turboprop run by a PT6. I believe it's a 67 model. Now, this first flew in 1991, and it can carry 6 to 9 passengers, or 4,000 pounds of cargo, crewed by 1 or 2 people, has a big cargo door, can handle relatively unimproved runways, and I believe being the NG model, we're looking at 285 knots cruise, stall speed about 67, so really low, can take off and land in roughly 2,400 feet to 50 feet of altitude, by the way, and it's got about 1,800 nautical miles of range. A very useful and utilitarian aircraft. So, without further ado, let's hop inside. In fact, before we go inside, we'll go outside and take a look around. Usual Carenado quality in terms of the modelling. In fact, I think I see little streaking effects on the metal. That's quite pretty. We expect a good 3D model with Carenado. What's that? I can see like a seam line there. It's almost like the rear polyface is missing. Maybe these engine covers are openable, because I can see the same thing a little bit forward as well. Interesting. We'll take a look. But I was right. This does have the default pilots. That is fantastic. Thank you, Carenado. We've only been asking for that for all your planes, and I hope it's an update that comes to the rest of the planes, because I don't necessarily like old guy and old guy junior. I like using my own choice of pilot model. It's a big thing for me. So that's cool. We have the 4-blade prop on this one rather than the 5-blade Hartzell. So it might be a slightly different version, but we'll take a look in just a second. Obligatory gear check. There's definitely still gear here. It's Carenado. We expect a certain 3D fidelity. Right, let's go inside. Now I have my stuff turned on here, so we'll just turn that off for a second. But Avionics instrumentation, and not a... Well, it is technically glass, but it's not G1000 glass, so I'm actually happy with this. Not bad. Quite like it. Exactly what I expect a PC-12 to look like. Usual business and things in the aircraft should function. I don't think the storm window will open there for us. Unless I could find a way of clicking on it. There appears to be no click spot. Fair enough. But it's not the end of the world in this. Oh, hello. Some visors do function. There we go. We have a sun visor. Useful. Nice comfy seats here. And I see our tablet over here. Let's see what we've got with this. So we've got our pilots, which we can see. Tow bar, external power, and static elements. Let's turn those on. Passenger door, cargo door. Now we have the ability to replace the default or working title 430-530 with either the TDI or the PMS 750. Useful. I'll leave that off for the testing, because we don't really need it. Startup modes. Checklists. Useful. So outside, useful, nice features. We have got our tow bar. I don't see where my external power is. Oh, it's over there. Cargo area. Through to the passenger compartment. Oh, yeah, tables work, and those work. Light controls don't appear to work, but the tables and the windows do. It's a good start. It's a pretty big cargo door, though. It makes it a very useful aircraft for that kind of flying. I wonder if I can open this. Does the bathroom work? It does not. Does the curtain work? It does not. Okay, back in the cockpit. Let's close all these things up. Let's get us started, and let's try and get ourselves on the wiggle, shall we? Close the tablet. Okay. Instrumentation is on. My fuel should be set to cut off. Throttle should be... the sim doesn't like starting at idle, so it'll give it a little bit of assistance there. Okay, those are all good. That is set correctly. Now we have electrical and power up there. We have our nav down here. Useful. Engine instruments, navigation, autopilot, pressurization. So let's go back to electrical. Now, we should be good with these. So, fuel pumps are on manual. Recognition light on as well. Starter and ignition to on. Fuel pumps are on manual, permanent on. We have a fuel pressure warning or caution. Giving it fuel, but it's not biting. Interesting. Why aren't you biting? That should be a typical turboprop startup procedure. And it is not biting. RPM's coming up on the starter, but I'm not getting that kick in of... Do I actually have fuel loaded? That could be a good question. We do have fuel. Oh, a tank selected. Where would the fuel tanks be? Oh. Fuel valve. There we go. Okay. Give it the fuel valve and we have an engine start. Boom. Perfect. That's caught, so we'll just make our last checks before we go anywhere else here. Everything else is started up. Our lights are all set to go. We'll give ourselves a notch of flaps here. Get my head aligned here. Engine's coming up. We're good there. Throttle back. Let's quickly go to up here. Pumps to automatic. Ignition to automatic. Okay. We are started up here and we're ready to get taxied out at Zelamse. So I'm going to knock off the parking brake. Oh, tight with the caravan there. Now, I have not had much time. This is my first time loading the aircraft, but I have not had much time to check the avionics in this aircraft. However, oh, I'm in beta. I shouldn't have done that. I have my throttle range set to account for that for other turboprops I fly. So we'll go to ground idle there. Now, I've not had much time to check these systems myself. We'll take a look in a moment. But I've been given reliable information from actual PC-12 pilots that the systems are disappointing in this. The depth of the instrumentation is disappointing, which is unfortunate and kind of sad. Hopefully the other renditions that are on the drawing board to come out soon for the PC-12. I'm dancing on the brakes there, trying to slow this thing down. But we'll get to the end of the runway here, we'll park up and we'll just take a quick look at the systems. Obviously we're not talking about the GPS system, that's whatever. GPS is the GPS, there are third-party options it allows you to use. Fair enough. It feels like it's very runaway on the ground and I'm at a low power taxi setting and it seems very nippy. We'll hold here. Okay, I'm going to turn my head off for a second so we can actually look at some screens with any reliability. So obviously we have our usual cockpit instrumentation there, and we have down here towards the Avionics system. Now, of course we have traffic display, we have... Where's our main menu buttons? Weather display can be overlaid as well, base map can be terrain. Okay. Airport's nearest. It's a relatively simple version of the system. It's not exactly that complicated. It's something, but it's not great. What are we doing to our HSI? So the various modes there. It does feel a little skin deep. I'm not an expert on this system. I've been told it is disappointingly shallow, but I cannot clarify that myself. I'm not a PC-12 pilot. I just about know how to fly turboprops in the sim. I will take their word for it. So if I've been told it's shallow and not exactly fantastic, or disappointing even, I'm interested to find out what the flight model's like. So we will find out what that's about to be like in a moment. Move this out of the way so I can actually see what's going on here. We'll do a quick night lighting check, by the way. So before I do anything, let's set that to there. Let's set our night lighting here. Okay. Not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. Well, they defaulted to full on, so you can dim it down. It's not bad. Not great, but not bad. I think is the best way to put that one. You can really neuter it down to be less cluttered in front of your visibility, so that's at least decent there. We're on our headlight mode, so let's put that back to daytime. And we'll get ourselves out of here for a quick little test flight, and we'll take a look at how she operates. Okay, so let's get my head turned back on here. Let's get the parking brake disengaged. And let's get ourselves ready to go. Now we have plenty of room here at Zelam Save for this kind of operation, so we should be just fine. So we'll level up and we'll hit the gas. Whoa, I can feel that being very strange. Interesting. That feels odd. Airspeed's alive, but... Huh. Lifting off, no drama. Let's give it a little bit of trim, nose up. Loud gear. Relatively quiet interior sound, or exterior sound though. The sounds are very disappointing, I have to say. Not what I'd expect at all. That gear sound was so loud. Listen to this. I mean, gear would be quite loud inside the aircraft compared to outside, but engine sounds are relatively weak, I would say. Zoom out my perspective a little bit there so we've got a bit more visibility. Pull the power back here. So we're passing to about 150 right now, which is fine. Roll rate seems quite high. Again, can't qualify how rolly the real one is, but it feels quite loose on the roll. Little hard on FPS as well, I've noticed with this one. This is a bit of a chonker. Now, this is of course Sim Update 9, so everything's a bit of a chonker, to be honest, but this feels chunkier than a lot of previous Carenado releases. Not sure if the Avionics system is causing it some heck, but it doesn't seem to be as friendly as it might be otherwise. Turn it off. Do I get any gains back? I do not. Of course, I'm not expecting circuit breakers to be clickable. It's a Carenado. It's skin deep. Switch mask pilot. Interesting. What do you do? Oh god, my pilots ran away. I think they want out of this as well. Yeah, the pilots quit. They got out. Oh, the pilot's mask mic, sorry. Yeah, that's switching from your actual microphone. That's a mountain. It's switching from your microphone in your, obviously on your headset, to the one inside the oxygen mask. Okay, so we'll fly out here, we'll turn around, we'll head back towards the airfield. Yeah, I'm losing quite a bit of FPS. This is a bit of a chunky aircraft. Not what I expected, given that it's not exactly heavy on the systems side. We have no engine systems to really consider here. And other than the rudimentary Avionics systems, which don't seem to be modeled to any depth, which is unfortunate. Again, I'm not an expert in Avionics systems, but I've been told by PC-12 pilots it's not good. Okay, so it can't be the depth of the system either, in terms of the avionics. So what's causing the problem? Because it feels like a memory leak issue. Now this is retailing at £20, or the equivalent in US. Typical Carenado release price for one of their own aircraft. Now, actually no, I might be wrong here, but I believe all their own aircraft have been released at lower prices too. I can't remember if it's just their personal ones have come out at around 20, but considering what we're getting for £20 now, it does feel a little shallow. And given the amount of time they've had to work on this one compared to others, I'm a little surprised, if I'm honest. Right, we're over there, so... bring the speed back here. Put the gear down now with really loud gear. Sounds really low, sounds kind of meh. Biggest takeaway here is that feels super, super loud compared to how loud the engine sound is. I'd expect more engine sound and that would feel more normal. But with the engine being this quiet comparatively, that's unusual. It also doesn't sound great, if I'm honest. Okay, so it's a power here to maintain. Gets the flaps to 15. Second set of stage of flaps. It's, what, 20 degrees? Yeah, 20 degrees and then 40. So we'll bring our nose down. We'll have to zigzag a little bit for the runway, but we'll make that just fine. Flight idle on power. We're going to be dropping down here, maintaining our airspeed, which is good. We can descend on flight idle without picking up too much speed, as long as we keep the angle relatively sane. Now, I have tested aircraft, of course, in this location and other locations. It's not this particular location that's causing any particular issue right now. I have checked that before. Unfortunately, it is the same in those cases as well. There's our runway. Probably more likely to come in from the other direction, but I do like a challenge, so we're doing exactly that. Keep the head on the aircraft here. We've got a good bit of airspeed before we get to stall. We'll sneak it round, a bit of an S-turn here around the outcropping in front of us, and we'll put her into land. Again, it's hard to criticise the Carenado aircraft texture-wise. They're very good. Functions, in terms of things it gives you, is great. Of course, now we have the actual regular pilot models from the sim rather than Old Guy and Old Guy Junior. Fantastic. But for the levels of systems complexity, I'm not expecting the level of performance in the sim. The sim's performance level shouldn't be this low for a given aircraft, not given the level of this one. So chunky performance, lack of systems depth, and given that they've actually put the work into making this appearing Avionics system, and from what I've been reported, not a very good one. Yeah. Now we do know we have at least one other PC-12 on the horizon, possibly two. Okay, I'm picking up quite a bit of airspeed here. That's a really aggressive slip there. But I lost us a lot of altitude, so I'll take it. That was really aggressive. It swung like crazy there. Okay, we're about 90 here, so about 20 over our stall speed. We have a displaced threshold to aim for here, and we're losing that speed now as we level up over the trees. We should touch down right about the displaced threshold. There we go, and down. Right on the numbers there. That is super quick there with a little bit of reverse as we get all three wheels on the ground. And we're off at the first exit. That'll do. Whoa, hello pig, slow down. There we go. No, 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 no. I'm in forward, not in reverse. That's this. I can't blame Carenado for that. That's the way Flight Sim handles turboprops and their engine modelling. It's very weird. Like, even if you go back into normal range, out of beta and reverse, it will still recognise it as being in that. So there you go. Okay, not my best FPS in terms of video, which I'm quite disappointed about, but there you go. Let's turn my head off there. Let's cut the fuel here. Okay, so we used that from here. Initial touchdown. Yeah, I sat on the stall horn a little bit, but stall horn typically means 10 within, roughly 5-10 miles knots within stall, so Absolutely fine. Touchdown there, nice and gentle, and we were off by here. It's well under 2,600 feet, or 2,400 feet. Actually, 2,400 is takeoff, 2,160 is landing, so you've got the options, really. 9 liveries, cool plane, this much development time, I'm disappointed. I expected more. I expected better performance out of it in the sim, because Carenado's planes of late have been fantastic. They've never had sim performance issues in terms of FPS. This one does. And given that it doesn't have any depth to the Avionics systems or engine, I'm surprised they managed to find a way to make it perform badly. It feels that the yaw is extreme, but it has got a big rudder, so I'll give it that. And it's a turboprop, low wing, pretty slippery aircraft. Okay, we'll consider that plausible. It does have a yaw damping system, so I'm going to assume the rudder is quite effective on this aircraft. I'm not a PC-12 pilot. I can't tell you if its flight behavior was accurate. Maybe somebody in the comments can. It felt okay. It didn't feel like the Flight 1 PC-12 I flew back in FSX. That could be an interpretation there. Nor did it fly like Carenado's one from P3D. We'll have to see what happens when the other ones that are on the table come out, but for now, it's a typical Carenado release that for some reason is pretty system heavy on your computer. I like the fact it's not a full G1000 or a full glass system, it's the classic Avidyne. But there you go, it's up to you to decide. Hopefully you guys will get something useful from this review. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.